We are live. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday evening, or Thirsty Thursday if you're partaking this evening. Welcome to Horror Talk Live, episode 29. I am Brian, and this is
Troy.
And welcome to our live show where there is no edits and we mess up for your viewing pleasure right while we're talking about the movie we're going to talk about tonight. Hope you're having a good week out there. It's hot here in North Carolina. Still hoping to get some rain maybe this weekend because we need it. My yard looks like it's kindling out there. Tonight we're going to discuss the original The Evil Dead, starring one Bruce Campbell, directed by Sam Raimi. Before we get into that, though, we're going to go down some stuff we've watched since the last time we were here together and go over some upcoming physical media and a little bit of horror news before we dive into The Evil Dead. First up, I know Troy's excited to at least talk about this one a little bit. Troy has been asking me for quite some time to watch Cannibal Holocaust, this movie right here. So I obliged him and we watched this. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
So we watched this bad boy, about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And had to get it out of his system. Never thought I'd watch this movie again, in all honesty. But we did, and it was everything I remember it to be. But I'm going to let Troy give you his thoughts on this, because this is a movie he's been asking to see for quite some time. So, Troy, what did you think of Cannibal Holocaust?
It was interesting. It's not a typical movie.
Well, no, it's not. And I know I went over some of the history of the movie with you before we saw it. And it was a movie that was definitely banned in a lot of countries for good reason.
Yeah.
Not that I'm for censorship, but I can understand why some people had their underwear in a twist over this one. Because it does go hard and there's some very graphic and nasty things in it for sure. But what were your overall thoughts on the movie itself?
It was okay, I guess. But like, it's not something I could just sit down like every day and watch.
Well, no, this is not a fun movie to watch.
This is like something if like someone asked me to watch it, I could watch it.
Yeah, this is one you pull out for a curiosity watch with your friends because they want to watch it. But it's not one you want to sit down and hang out and watch. Oh, let's watch Cannibal Holocaust and have a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's not one of those kind of movies. All right, well then let me ask you, what would you give this one out of 10?
6.
6 out of 10?
6.5.
6.5. That's where Troy is on Cannibal Holocaust. I did a review for this one. This is a movie I saw it once way back when with my buddy Rich. And I never thought I'd watch it again until Troy wanted to watch it. And I'm like, well, if he's going to watch it, I want him to watch it with me.
Yeah.
So I can answer any questions, obviously, because I anticipated some. If you've ever seen this film, you'll know why. And, it was a journey. This is not a movie you enjoy. You take the ride. It's a journey, and it's not a fun one, but it's interesting. It's a curiosity. And so we watched this since the last time we were all together. I got to watch... Hey, good to have you here. I got to see Obsession in the theaters. Troy did not see this one. But I enjoyed Obsession. I thought it was really good. I thought it lived up to the hype. I enjoyed the movie. I will definitely buy it on physical media when it comes out. It was definitely good, and I'm actually curious on what he would do with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Because as you know, they announced that he's going to direct the next Texas Chainsaw movie. So we'll see what happens. I think he's doing another movie first, but he got tapped to do the next Texas Chainsaw. And now after seeing Obsession, I'm interested to see what he would do with it. So,
is it the same guy who made The Monkey?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not the same guy. That's right. You are the Holy Ghost. I also got to see Masters of the Universe. Troy has no idea what that is because he's never seen a He-Man cartoon to save his life. It's not a cartoon I showed him growing up. We watched Voltron, Transformers, which Troy has. We have a bunch of them on
We just
the old Generation 1 Transformers, and what was the other? Real Ghostbusters. So Troy grew up on those kind of cartoons. He never saw a He-Man cartoon, but I watched He-Man when I was growing up, so I was interested to see what they did with it, and I liked it. It was a fun summer blockbuster that I enjoyed. It's not the greatest thing, but I thought they did. It's based on an 80s cartoon that sold toys. So at the end of the day, I thought it was entertaining, and I enjoyed it. So there's that. Other than that, I hadn't seen anything else besides I watched Day of the Dead with Troy for the first time the other night, and Troy enjoyed that. Did you
Yeah.
not? What would you give Day of the Dead out of 10?
like 7.5.
7.5. Well, you lowered it since the other night.
No.
You said 8 the other night.
Oh, well, 8 then.
Oh, 8. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I remember my buddy had Castle Grayskull, and that was like the coveted toy back then. And that thing was badass, the Castle Grayskull. But yeah, I never had that one. I had mostly had Transformers and Voltron, but I remember my buddy had Castle Grayskull, and that was a badass toy. Okay, we're going to go down some physical media releases coming up. Arrow has announced some really cool ones coming out very soon. And we're going to go down each company, at least that has something interesting that's coming out. Arrow Video on the July 21st, which I already have this pre-ordered. Falling Down, Michael Douglas, love that movie. Soylent Green comes out on the 21st. To Live and Die in L.A., which I already have the Kino Lorber version. I won't buy another copy. I think Kino Lorber did a really good job with it. I'm sure Arrow's going to do a great job with it. But that's a great movie if you've never seen To Live and Die in L.A. And August 18th, I'm always skeptical of a new Texas Chainsaw because we've had a couple stinkers that have come out. But I'm more optimistic now after seeing Obsession, but we'll see. I think Texas Chainsaw will be, it's totally a different animal, so we'll see. He's saying he wants to take it back to its gritty roots. We'll see what that
I hope
means.
so. But I also hope it's very gory.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he's not on his next movie anyway, but so we're probably at least 2 years away from seeing it. So we'll see what happens. August 18th, RL Video is releasing Troy on 4K. No, not this Troy. Troy, starring Eric Bana, Orlando Bloom, and a huge cast. Brad Pitt's in it. Brian Cox is in it. I really like that movie, so I'm excited to have that on 4K finally. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey comes out August 18th. And Identity, which I really like that movie, and I'll probably end up picking that up because I only have the old DVD, so I wouldn't mind having an upgraded copy of that movie. And they also made the announcement, although it doesn't have a date yet. I'm super excited for this movie on 4K because I love this movie. The Last Boy Scout, starring Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. I absolutely love that. I actually got to see it in the theaters when it was released back in the early 90s. I was way too young to see a movie like that, but it was cool. I love that movie. It's a great underrated Tony Scott movie written by Shane Black, and it's finally getting its 4K release. We just don't have a date yet, but I'm very excited about it. Synapse has Prom Night in 4K for the first time ever on August 3rd. I have the Blu-ray of Prom Night. I don't think I'm going to upgrade, but for you big fans out there of the original Prom Night, I like that movie, but I'm happy with the Blu-ray. That does come out August 3rd. Scream Factory on July 7th, End of Watch comes out, the Jake Gyllenhaal movie. I liked that movie. It was directed by David Ayer. It's a really good cop movie. I don't know. I have it on Blu-ray. It'd be interesting to see what it looks like on 4K, but it's one of those movies that's mostly handheld, so I don't know how good that's going to be on 4K. But a really cool, another movie that's coming out July 21st, Unlawful Entry, starring Kurt Russell. I really like that movie. It's a great thriller, and it's the first time on 4K for that one. Warner Brothers announced, I think yesterday or a couple days ago, Mars Attacks gets a 4K release on August 11th for all you Tim Burton fans out there. And Lionsgate has Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair on 4K on July 28th. Uh, yes, we were. A lot of us were a lot too young, or really too young to see a lot of the movies we saw in the '90s. I would agree with you, but we did it anyway. Um, okay, that's it for physical me. Oh, the Ninth Gate too. But that came out already. I'm sorry, I wrote that and I scribbled it out. I can't even read my own handwriting. It's been a long day. Horror news wise, since we're going to talk about the Evil Dead tonight, we have a brand new Evil Dead movie coming out on July 10th, which I'm very excited about. Evil Dead Burn. They've already wrapped production on Evil Dead Wrath, but it's not coming out till April 7th of 2028 unless they move it up. We'll see. But they did release a little bit of news about it. It's going to take place pre the original Evil Dead. It's going to take place in 1972. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well. It's all right. You didn't miss much. I'm just going down some physical media. We didn't get into the movie yet. You missed we were talking about Cannibal Holocaust, and now I'm just going down some physical media. Troy wanted to talk about Cannibal Holocaust. He was dying to. Last one on horror news. The new Exorcist movie directed by Mike Flanagan, wrap production. That's coming out next year, March 12th of 2027. That's all I have for horror news. There's more horror news out there, but those are the ones of note, especially with Evil Dead Burn coming out in a few weeks, which we're excited about that here. So we'll be seeing that right before we go away on vacation. So we're going to be going Thursday night to see that bad boy before we head out on a week's vacation. All right. The one we're here to talk about, the original, the OG, the one that's over my shoulder right there. It's a double pack with Evil Dead 2, which I love Evil Dead 2. Troy hasn't seen all of Evil Dead 2 yet. But he watched Evil Dead, and we'll get his thoughts as we get through this. But I remember the first time I saw this movie. I was telling Troy about it. It was probably around 93, 94. It was me, my buddy Rich, Chuck. We were at Chuck's house. It was either Halloween night or a night before Halloween. And we rented Evil Dead, Hellraiser 4. No, so it had to be later in the 90s because Hellraiser 4 didn't come out till a little bit later. And something else. I don't remember what the third movie was. And that was the first time I saw Evil Dead on VHS. Fell in love with it. And I've had it on VHS. And I've had it on DVD. And I have that Blu-ray right there. So this movie, The Evil Dead, came out originally, although it wasn't its main release. We'll talk about that as we go through this. But it had its opening screen, the private screening or the premiere in Michigan on October 15th of 1981. This was unrated or rated X at the time because Sam Raimi did not want to cut it down for an R rating. Had a budget of $375,000 and it's an hour and 25 minutes long. This was written and directed by Sam Raimi, produced by Rob Tappert, and executive produced by Bruce Campbell, and starring Bruce Campbell, our excellent trio that's done the original trilogy and still producing Evil Dead movies to this day. And sadly, Bruce Campbell has retired the mantle of Ash Williams, but his legacy lives on in the original trilogy and Ash vs. Evil Dead, a TV series. If you've ever seen that series, which I own all those seasons on Blu-ray because I really enjoyed that series. It's a shame we didn't get a little bit more of that. Speaking of Bruce Campbell, of course, is the legendary Ash Williams in this movie. Ellen Sandweiss plays Cheryl. Betsy Baker plays Linda. Richard Demicore plays Scott. And Teresa Tilley plays Shelley. They are our characters in this film. They're really the only characters in this film. And they rented a cabin in the woods. Not a very nice-looking cabin, but a cabin in the woods nonetheless. And they find a book and a tape recorder.
Well, it takes them a while to find the book.
Well, I know, but I'm not going through every little plot point. They find a book and a tape recorder, and they play the tape recorder, which is basically reading passages from the book that awakens an evil in the woods that changes their life forever and takes over their bodies. And Ash is the only one left, and he has to dismember pretty much everybody. And as we know, it's not a happy ending, although we do get a sequel. And that is pretty much The Evil Dead. This was Sam Raimi's first big movie, although he had made 16 Super 8 movies with Bruce Campbell when they were growing up in Michigan in high school. They had made a short film called Book of the Dead that's actually on the old DVD. I think it's even on it might be on the Blu-ray or the special edition 4K. But it was even on this old DVD from Anchor Bay. If you remember this edition that came out, mine is all dry rotted. Unfortunately, it's in very bad shape. But I don't know if you remember when Anchor Bay released this special edition back in the day. The Book of the Dead short was in this. I still have the disc. It's just not in this. I have it in a CD case. But this was. I remember when Anchor Bay released this. I had to have it. It's badass, and it's something I'll always keep. But it's breaking apart in my hands, so I'm gonna put that down before the rest of the Book of the Dead peels off. So Troy, before I get into everything, you watched this for the other night for the first time with your friends the other day. I know you and I have discussed this off air, but what are your thoughts on you've seen the remake before
Yeah.
this. So unfortunately, he's already saw the Fede Alvarez remake. What are your thoughts on the OG, The Evil Dead? And it's okay. Everybody is different. You could be honest. Go for it.
I thought it was pretty good, except for like what they turn into once they get like the disease or whatever you want to call it.
What are possessed?
Possessed, yeah.
So you weren't impressed by the effects, per
I mean,
se.
the effects, like some of the effects are cool, but not all of them.
But I know we had a conversation about the budget.
Yeah.
The hardships they had trying to get this movie in the can. In the woods of Tennessee in a cabin.
I mean, it looks good for being in the middle of nowhere.
And Raimi was only 20 years old when he shot this, and it was a very much of a learning curve. There was a lot of learning going on when they were making this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always tried to tell Troy, you got to take a movie from when it was made, how it was made, the hardships they had, and you have to remember that when you watch it. When I watched this the first time, it works for me. But
I didn't know that.
Well, he didn't know any of that. I told him after he watched it for the first time. So he'd already formed an opinion until I told him some of this. What did you think about Ash as a lead character? This is the beginning of Ash. This is not, you've not seen the sequel yet, the whole thing, and you haven't seen Army of Darkness. Ash goes through a metamorphosis from this movie to the second movie, and even by the time Army of Darkness, he goes through a lot of phases to what he ends up being, and that's how he became the horror legend that he is. But what are your thoughts in this movie, since you haven't seen any of the other ones yet? I mean, he's the last man standing, so yes, it's always important to tell your kids when watching a movie, you got to remember the budget, when it was made, how it was made. There's a lot to take into consideration. And my mistake was probably letting him watch the remake before he saw this one. That was probably an oopsie on my part. But the circumstances of when he watched the remake, it couldn't be helped because he was in the hospital and he was just looking for something to watch. So he watched it. And I probably jumped the gun. I kind of encouraged it because of the new movie coming out, because I want him to watch Evil Dead Rise. We got to watch that before the Evil Dead Burn comes out. But I want him to watch part 2 in Army of Darkness. We'll get there. But we were starting here, and we were going to talk about it tonight, so I told him to make sure he watches this one. But so the effects-wise, what are your thoughts on the effects overall?
They're not horrible.
Did your view on them change when I told you the budget and what they had to do? Okay. I think it's important to have context of what was going on, what they were trying to pull. You know, it was, at least it's practical.
Yeah.
Although the claymation, the stop motion took them, probably gave you a little bit of a pause when that happened.
The stop motion, I was like, my brain was spinning like.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting the stop motion. Later on in the movie, he goes, I was not expecting that. I'm like, well, like, it's okay. I didn't warn you ahead of time, so I could kind of see when it took you off balance a little bit.
Yeah.
But the stop motion has some charm to it. And stop motion's a pain in the ass to pull off. I mean, it's very labor intensive. But
we used to do in elementary school.
That's right.
They made us do something. That's right. Like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a pain. I mean, Tim Burton produced a few movies like that, like Nightmare Before Christmas is like that, and The Corpse Bride. That's all stop motion and stuff like that. So it's very labor intensive, and again, they had a $375,000 budget. So, and they basically went around, they raised that money by going around asking lawyers, dentists, family members. That's how they raised all the money. And they even ran out of money at one point and had to go raise more money to come back and finish the movie. So it was definitely a labor of love and very much a pain in the ass to get this movie in the can. I remember reading Bruce Campbell's book of Chins Could Kill, and I think the original cut came in at like an hour or like almost 2 hours long or something like that. And he said that was a miracle because the script was only 65 pages long. So he goes, I don't know how we got that much footage to have that long. And then they cut it down to the 85 minutes that it is today that we've watched it as since we were kids. But yeah, they wanted to shoot this in Michigan, but they didn't want to deal with the winter. So they figured, let's go to Tennessee. So they found a cabin, and plus Michigan wasn't too helpful with trying to get. Michigan really didn't want to do with this movie, although they did shoot the basement stuff at Rob Tappert's family's. Someone in his family had a farmhouse, and they had a basement, and that's where they shot the basement stuff. But all the cabin stuff they shot for 12 weeks in Tennessee in the middle of nowhere, in this cabin which they slept in, Morristown, Tennessee, and it was colder than they anticipated. They lived out of the cabin, and again, like I said, it was a learning curve because they had made Super 8 movies, and if you're a fan of Sam Raimi as a director, he likes to pull off some crazy shots, which are in this movie, and nobody knew how to pull the shots off, so it was all just trial and error until they got the shot the way they wanted it, and it was a very laborious shoot for them to wrap this up, and it worked out, but they definitely took a chance, and they suffered for their art, and they got it done. And when it came out, it was pretty well received by the horror public. But we'll get into the release then. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the thing about this movie for me, the first time I saw it, I'm trying to think back to the 90s when I saw it for the first time. It really took me, because I'd seen a lot of horror movies up till that point, like Friday the 13th, a bunch of the Friday the 13th, Halloween. I'd seen all the Halloweens up to that point. I'd seen Hellraiser 1 and 2 by that point, and probably 3. Silver Bullet, all that stuff I'd seen leading up to this. But when I first saw this, I think the thing that took me off guard was the camera work. The camera work really is its own character. And that's what I love about Sam Raimi movies. The camera work is just its own thing. Any movie he's ever done, especially the ones that he wrote, produced, and directed, where he had total creative control, he goes nuts with the camera, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, as a matter of fact, that was the best thing about Doctor Strange 2, was when Raimi was allowed to be Raimi, because nobody else does it like him. So it's so unique and different than everybody else. And it's a style that he's kept pretty much his whole career, not use it in every movie. I can think of a few movies that he didn't use it in, like The Gift was much more straightforward. Or For the Love of the Game, if you ever seen that one with Kevin Costner, the baseball movie he did. But Darkman, even some of the Spider-Man movies, is when he was allowed to go crazy with the camera. That's always my favorite part of any Sam Raimi movie, when he just does his thing. I just love it. And it's just like here, the camera work, the setting. If you can hear my dog barking, somebody must be walking their dog across the street. My dog's the block warden. She don't like anybody. Typical German Shepherd. Don't like anybody walking by the house. I don't know. When I first saw this, it actually kind of scared me. And I remember specifically the moment where the Deadite picks up the pencil and stabs the other woman in the ankle with the pencil. I'll never forget the first time I saw that. And I love Bruce Campbell here, but I love how, like I was telling Troy, I love his progression through each movie, where by the end of part 2, that's pretty much what Ash is in Army of Darkness. But to see him go through all these stages to get there, I think it's a great journey. And I'm excited for him to actually watch. He watched the first couple minutes of part 2, but he has to watch the whole thing. And then Army of Darkness, which is a hell of a lot of fun, although not much of a horror movie per se, but just a lot of fun. But yeah, I've loved this movie since I saw it back in the 90s. It's a movie that I look fondly on. I love all 3 movies. I own all 3 of them. and I own the remake. I like the Fede Alvarez remake, and I like Evil Dead Rise. And like I said earlier, I'm excited about the new Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Burn, in a couple weeks. We're only 3 weeks away now. 3 weeks away tonight, Evil Dead Burn comes out, so I'm very excited about that. Troy's excited about it, and I'm excited we're getting another one. They already have it in the can, so we have a cornucopia of Evil Dead stuff coming our way, and we're better for it. Life is good with some Evil Dead in our lives. So before I go on with some of the things, what do you think you would have liked this movie more if you hadn't seen the remake first?
Probably, because my expectations were higher.
Yeah, okay. And I told him, I said the remake had a lot more money. Effects have come a long way. Not that the effects in this movie are bad, and I love them, and they have their own charm. I just think, and we all know this, it was a low budget production. They didn't have any connections, so they were just anybody that was willing to help them that they could find that can do stuff. That's who they hired, and they didn't have a big crew. I think it was like a 13-man crew, so it wasn't like they were working with a ton of people. And it was like Scott Spiegel, who sadly passed away, who would go on to direct Intruder, and he helped co-write Evil Dead 2. He worked on this movie behind the scenes. And if you've never seen Intruder, check that out. It's a very cool slasher movie. Troy has to see that. I have that on DVD. It's a very cool slasher movie. It takes place all in a supermarket. It's pretty damn gory too. There's some cool gore stuff in there.
Is that why you hate shopping?
No, I just hate shopping because I don't. When I was your age, or when I was 16, I could drive. I used to love going to the record store or the movie store.
Well, I would love to go to a record store.
But now that I'm older and those places aren't around anymore,
it's not as fun.
I don't want to go because there's nowhere I want to go. That's why I don't like shopping. I like going to Best Buy, but Best Buy doesn't even have a movie section anymore. So unless I'm going to buy electronics, there's no reason to go to Best Buy.
Doesn't Walmart have those boxes of movies? Like those big boxes in the back?
Our Walmart has downsized their movie selection.
Oh.
I don't know.
I haven't been there.
The one over in Holly Springs has a bigger selection. Ours is pathetic. It's like maybe one little section. That's it. It's not like it used to be.
I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, I know. You don't get up to go with us on Sunday mornings, which I don't blame you. I wish I didn't have to go, but somebody has to go get our stuff. Sorry about that tangent about physical media. No stores having it anymore, at least around us. Barnes & Nobles, I guess, but I don't even know where there's a Barnes & Nobles by us.
There is one.
I know, but I'm trying to think where it is. That's how often I go there.
Never.
Because I always just buy it online. If I want, I just ship it right to the house. Yeah. Gotten lazy, but also I work a lot and I don't have time to run around all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And Troy's going to be playing football, so we're going to have even less time coming up.
Yep.
All right. Let's go through some trivia here, and then we're going to get Troy's rating on this bad boy. And let me know down below, out of 10, what would you give the original Evil Dead? Where does this rank in out of the original 3 Evil Dead movies, where does this rank? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd be interested. But yeah, out of 10, what would you give the original Evil Dead? We'll give you our scores in just a couple minutes. And then I'm going to announce I have a special guest for next episode. We're going to do something a little different, but it's still going to be Horror Talk Live, but the movie's not really horror, but that's okay. We're going to have a little bit of fun. It's going to be July, beach season, and we're going to the beach for a week, so I figured we're going to have a little fun next month. Not that we don't always have fun, but we're going to have a little bit extra fun with a dead body and some laughs. But oh, I'm sorry. I messed that up. The original title of this movie was Book of the Dead. That was the movie. That was the working title of the film. The short film, I got it mixed up, was Within the Woods. That's the short film they shot in 1978. And they basically shot that short as a proof of concept to show investors, look, this is what we're going for, just expanded. And like I said, that short film is an old Anchor Bay DVD, and I think it's been released on other special editions by this point.
You have it?
I had that on the DVD. I don't know if that Blu-ray has it on it. It's right behind my shoulders, but there's a new 4K coming out too. But they did shoot this on 16 millimeter, blew it up to 35. That's also why they need some extra money at the end of production. They needed some extra money to blow it up to 35 millimeter. We already said the cabin was in Morristown, Tennessee. The prosthetic makeup and stop motion effects were all created by one guy, Tom Sullivan. He did all the makeup effects and all the stop motion stuff. K&B Effects would take over for him on part 2. And as you know, part 2 has even more practical effects and more makeup effects and goes even crazier. And I love part 2. It's a great horror comedy. Now, like I said, this had its premiere in Michigan in 1981. They took it to Cannes. That's when Stephen King saw it and gave it that quote. And they met a movie producer, and he got them a deal with New Line to release this in 1983. So the official release was April 15th of 1983 through New Line Cinema. This is even before New Line did Nightmare on Elm Street, but not before they did Alone in the Dark. I always bring that movie up. If you've never seen that slasher movie, has Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin Landau, Dwight Schultz. It's a cool little slasher film if you've never seen it. It's New Line Cinema's first in-house production. If you get a chance, check it out. I think it's streaming on Tubi. Upon release, this movie made 2.4 in America, but 27 worldwide, and it was a huge hit once it hit the video market, although this was a video nasty in the United Kingdom. It's not banned anymore over there, I don't think, but it was banned at the time. And it kind of started its legend. And this movie is a legend. The first cut of this movie was 117 minutes long. That's the one Bruce Campbell said was a miracle, considering the script was only 65 pages. The cast and crew stayed in that cabin a lot. People got hurt. People got sick. It was cold. The cabin only had a fireplace for warmth, no indoor plumbing. So it was an absolute miserable shoot. I read Campbell's book on If Chins Could Kill, and I also have this book called Evil Dead, The Making of Evil Dead, and it goes through all the trials and tribulations. As a matter of fact, at the end of the shoot, Bruce and Rob Tabbert went out and bought 100 shotgun shells and shot at every prop that was in the movie and just shot up the shit. And they actually ended up burning some of the furniture in the cabin to stay warm once they didn't need it anymore. That's how dire it got. The cabin is not there anymore. Just the fireplace remains. And I know people have found it. There's YouTube videos of people that have found the location of the cabin, but there's nothing left. It's about all that's left of that. The cabin, because the cabin burned down. And I think Raimi burned it down. There's a rumor that Raimi burned it down at the end of the shoot. I don't know if that's ever been confirmed now. The contact lenses that they wear once they're possessed were like glass contacts, and they can only wear them at 15 minutes at a time, and they had to take them out so they can rest their eyes. And the POV shot, they did that a couple different ways, but one way they did that POV, the Sam Raimi POV shot, the Evil Dead shot, is they mounted the camera on a 2x4 and ran with it through the woods. That's how they got a lot of those just sweeping low-angle POV shots. And that's, standard Raimi. I mean, Raimi's used that almost every movie he's ever made. The 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88, that's Raimi's car. It's in every Sam Raimi movie. I think the special thing with that car was he lost his virginity in that car, so he keeps that car, and it's in every movie he's ever made, even the Western that he did. Quick and the Dead with Gene Hackman and Leonardo DiCaprio and Sharon Stone. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn came out in 1987. And then in the early 90s, Army of Darkness came out in 1993. I think it was 93. That was their biggest budget. Evil Dead 2 had a bigger budget, and then Army of Darkness had a bigger budget. At the end of the day, this is a classic horror film. I mean, this is one that is heralded in horror circles. It's one that a lot of my friends love. We grew up on. But I'm going to let Troy give you his final rating on this movie. I'll give you my rating, and then I'm going to announce what next month's going to be. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor, just hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm, so I've been told. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been told. I would greatly appreciate that. If you've never subscribed, please. I greatly would appreciate that as well. Troy, what would you give The Evil Dead, the original? There's no wrong answers here. Be honest.
Maybe an 8.
8 out of 10 for The Evil Dead. Okay. I love this movie. If I had to rank them, though, I think I preferred Evil Dead 2 just a little bit more. but I absolutely love this first movie. I would give The Evil Dead a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for the original Evil Dead. Absolute classic. I have that Blu-ray over my shoulder, and there's a brand new 4K coming out too. I don't know if I'm going to upgrade or not.
You will.
We'll see. I got to get a good deal on it though. The initial release is a little too expensive. Eventually, I'll probably get a 4K. I just need it to come down in price a little bit. What are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know. What do you rate it out of 10? Again, there's no wrong answers. And what is your favorite Evil Dead movie out of the first three, the Sam Raimi directed movies? I'd be interested to see how you'd rank those three. I would go Evil Dead 2, The Evil Dead, and Army of Darkness. Even though I absolutely love Army of Darkness, that's how I would rank the first three movies in this series. All right. Next month, we're going to do this. Actually, I actually have the date already. We're going to do this on a Friday night, right before we head to the beach. We're going away for a week. On Friday, July 10th at 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm going to be joined by Dale_A from the Bat and Spider podcast. Please do me a favor. If you like listening to horror podcasts, go over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe to Bat and Spider and say hi to my good friend Dale. He lives just in this neighborhood, not too far from where we sit. And Chuck, they do a great podcast. They drop an episode every Thursday morning. This morning I dropped their episode on the movie Fright from the 70s, starring Susan George. And he's going to join me for this one. And the movie we're going to talk about, even though it's not horror, Weekend at Bernie's. We're going to have a little bit of beach fun with a dead body. This is a movie I saw in the drive-ins when I was a kid. My parents took a double. It was a double bill with this, and I don't remember what the other movie was now, but I always remember this movie. And I have this Blu-ray, and we're going to talk about it next time. It's summertime. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and in August, we're going to get right back into horror. But next month, we're going to have, actually, just in 3 weeks, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this bad boy right here. And if you're my age, you've seen this movie probably, and it's a movie I remember fondly from my youth, and I just rewatched this not too long ago, but I'm going to rewatch it again in a couple weeks, and we're going to talk about Weekend at Bernie's. We're going to have some fun with Bernie Lomax and the boys. This shot in North Carolina, about a little over 2 hours from where I sit. Me and Dale went and visited a spot where they built Bernie's house. It's no longer there. They took it down after production, but we stood right by where they had Bernie's house, and that was a cool thing to do. But yeah, that is it for this episode of Horror Talk Live. This is episode 29. We talked about the Evil Dead. I greatly appreciate you joining me on this Thursday evening. We have one more day tomorrow, Friday, although I got to work Saturday. And then next week, we're heading to Pennsylvania to do some family fun with family and friends. Go to Hershey Park, go to Knoebels, have a party at Nanny and Pop's house. So that's it. I hope you all had fun. I hope you all have a great weekend. Hopefully, wherever you're at, you have great weather. Hopefully, we get some freaking rain. And that's it. But until next time, Troy, what do we say?
Bye.
Good job, buddy. We didn't go as long as I thought.